Hey everyone, it's Tracy here at Whirls and Swirls Quilting, and today I'm going to show you another really cool trick using a pantograph. Pantographs are designed and meant to stitch edge-to-edge designs, side to side, top to bottom across the entire quilt, regardless of how they're pieced. But what if there's a spot or a block or an applique or something that you really don't want to stitch across, but you still really want to use that pantograph? With free motion quilting, it's easy to dance around the quilt and miss things on the quilt or stitch around things on the quilt. But with a pantograph, it's not possible, right? It's totally possible. Today I'm going to teach you how to create a no-sew zone on the back of the frame on the pantograph so that you can still use it, yet skip around things that you may necessarily not want to stitch right over. Okay? Let's get started. All right, so for my sample today, I've just got some plain fabric on there, and I've used a heart template, and I've drawn a great big heart right in the middle of my space. Chances are when you use this method, you are going to have to advance it and remark the spot. Very rarely is this ever going to fit in one advance. So it is a multi-step process, but it's super easy. You can do it with any pantograph, and you can do it with any shape. All you need is the method, and then you're going to just use it to suit the shapes and whatever it is that you're working with. Okay? So I've got my heart drawn out on my quilt. I also have it already stitched in the ditch, and I highly encourage you, if you're going to use this method, if you're comfortable with rulers, to take the time and to stitch in the ditch around that area that you're going to skip over, so that it's stable and straight and will stay exactly where it's supposed to be. If it's a block, it will stay nice and square. If it's a shape like this heart, it will actually give it that nice solid shape, and it'll actually make it stand out better, and it will look much more finished. Okay, so I've already done that part, and now I'm going to show you how to figure out where that is back here. Okay, I've got my dry erase marker. I'm going to use a nice bright one, so hopefully you can see it. This is red, and it's a fairly fine point. You don't want a great big fat marker. So I've already done my ghost row, and then I have a space here, so I know that this heart is going to be partially in this particular row. So what I'm going to do is take my foot and my needle, and I'm going to position it somewhere on that heart. I'm going to start by just hovering my needle. Now you can drop your needle down and bring your needle up all the way around. If you're going to do that, just take your thread out of your needle so that you don't start to make great big long stitches and drag your thread around. I'm just going to hover. So I'm going to start right in the point of that heart. My laser light is sitting right here, and this is all already set up. I've already done my ghost row, so my boundary lines are done. I already know my 1 and my 2 and all that kind of stuff. This is just specifically so that we can skip this heart. So again, I've got my needle hovering on top of that, and I'm just peeking over. I can see perfectly fine, and I'm going to put a dot right where that light sits. I'm going to go a little bit and put another dot. Go a little bit more, put another dot. And you can use as many or as little dot to dots as you want, depending on the shape. If I were to be doing a square, perhaps, then I really only need the 4 corners, right? Because you can draw a straight line in between 4 corners. But if you're doing a specific shape that curves or undulates, goes in and out, then I would encourage you to probably do more than just the bare minimum. Do as many as you like, so that once we've got these dots done, we can just join them. Now when I get to here, I put a dot there, but I'm already past where this particular row is going to stitch. So I don't need to worry about going right to the bottom of the heart right now. I'm going to pick it up on the other side, and I mark my dot, dot, And again, as I start to come around this corner, my dots are going to get closer together because I want to be as accurate as possible. A little bit more, and one more. Perfect. So there I have all my dots. And now I'm just going to join them together. So I start down here. And what this is giving me is the boundary of where I don't want to stitch. So this area in here is going to have 0 stitching. We're going to remark our pantograph and go around from that. So the next thing we do, now we know where the top of that heart is sitting, and I know exactly where I have pantograph lines and where I'm going to miss. Now I need to actually redraw my design a little bit as I go around here and change it up. So I'm just going to follow my line in, and when I get to here, this line here wants to come inside. So we're just going to switch that around a little bit. I'm going to come around here. I'm going to bring that in a little bit. I'm following the same shape that the pantograph originally had. I'm just making these lines pushed to the outside so that we don't go inside the heart. I can get all this done right here. Follow that. And then I have to get from here to over here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to swing this in so it puts some thread inside right close to that heart, and then I'll swing it out and I'll pick back up with this line. Follow it all the way around. The next spot it's going to hit is right here on the edge of this heart. So I'm going to swing that in, and then when I get here, I may just have my nice curved line there, but just sort of just before it, so it just kind of kisses it. And then when I get to here, there's actually a spot right here that sticks out. And if I just continue on here, there will be a bare spot up here. So what I'm going to do is maybe swing this out a little bit and just make it just that little bit bigger so it kind of fills in that space so that we don't have a gap there. Meet back up with this, and then I'll carry on. Now we'll stitch out the row. Now I'm getting into the zone where I've recreated the lines. So I'm just going to fall off the black lines of the original pantograph, and until I get over to here, I'm going to follow the lines that I've redrawn. There we go. I've got my 1 and my 2 already marked, so I know exactly where my advance is. I'm going to drive up to the number 1 and drop my needle down, and I'll advance to my number 2, and then we will block out what we need for the bottom of the heart on the next row. I've advanced the quilt using my 1 and my 2 method. I've already basted the sides, and now we're ready to do the next row, which has the bottom of the heart in it. So now we need to rub out this no-sew zone and create the next one so that we can make sure we don't drive through the bottom of the heart on the next row. My little bit of paper towel, we're going to rub that out. and we're going to do exactly the same thing that we just did with the top of the heart. So I'm just going to peek over the edge, and I'm going to position the foot right on the line of the heart, and I'll go down a little bit, and we're just coming to a point. So this is only going to take up a little tiny bit of this row. It's only going to dig in a little bit. There we go. That's good. So I basically just have a little triangle here. So again, I'm going to dot to dot, draw the line. Then I'm going to take a look at the design and figure out how to sort of dance around it so that I get nice and close to it and it doesn't look like anything is missing, but we don't drive through it. So I'm going to come from this way, and really on this side, the only one I have to adjust is this little one that's right beside it. So I'm just going to take it in just a little bit shallower, and then I don't have to think about it again until it comes around this point here and comes up to the side of this heart. So I'm just going to swing this in a little bit. I don't really like that. It's a little shallow. It's a little shallow. Doesn't look that great. So we're just going to rub that out. And we'll try again. Now, a good tip, if you're redrawing these lines and you're having a hard time and you've done it a couple of times and you still don't like it, go from the other side. So right now I'm sort of coming from the top and I'm traveling down this way and I'm trying to get something to happen between here. If my brain's not happy doing that, start on this side and draw right, left to right instead of right to left. Your brain will sort of flip gears and you may find it easier to come up with something coming that way than it is going the other way. So I'm going to come in. There we go. I like that. So I just sort of came in and then I swung this around in sort of this flippy, almost like a little bit of a feathery shape. I could actually make that one just a little bit bigger. So let's make that one just a little smidge bigger so it takes up more space. I'm going to swing this in, swing it out like that, and make that one just a little bit smaller. There we go. I like that. There we go. And now we can quilt the next row. Again, as I come to where I've redrawn my design, I'm just going to forget that I can see the black lines from the original panto, and I'm going to follow the red ones. There we go. If there were more areas on the quilt, I would just continue to do the same thing all the way down to the bottom. If they're square blocks, if they're circles, if they're applique shapes or heart shapes or some paper piecing, anything you want to miss, use the same method and it will work fantastically. It will work with any pantograph as well. The more complicated the pantographs are, the more creative you may have to get, but you can absolutely do it. And it's a great way to still be able to use the pantograph and still get that consistent edge to edge design, the look, the consistency with the perfect spacing, yet you don't always have to drive over absolutely everything in the quilt. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like, comment, ask a question. I'm more than happy to help. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. And make sure you click the little bell icon so that you get notifications when I go live to do the demos or when I post up a new video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day.